with in our water, in our biotech food industry. We have, you know, glyphosate in Roundup that is sprayed on all of our organic foods. It's in the air that we're breathing, and its toxicity gets into our bodies, and it starts to affect us in a lot of different ways. And we're going to talk about this toxicity in the gut tonight as a, you know, a specialty area of the body. We're going to talk about, you know, we're going to start this presentation off explaining the destruction of our temple, and then how we heal. I want to help you, like Anne-Marie said, I want to help you find that heal and health so you can get stuff done. But, you know, once we know that our intestines are not in very good shape, how do we heal? How do we seal up those leaky holes? There's an epidemic going on right now. Do you ever wonder why we have so many allergies and so many food insensitivities and food sensitivities and autoimmune disorders are just plaguing us? You know, I was raised in the Western medical model, but the Western medical allopathic world doesn't really handle autoimmune disorders very well. They're missing a huge piece of the puzzle. And you're going to learn the pathophysiology behind why we have so many autoimmune disorders and allergies. You know, you smell a closed bag of corn nuts, you go into anaphylaxis. You know, where's my $1 million EpiPen? These things are happening right now because we've created an environment inside of our bodies that cause our immune systems to go hyperactive. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. What's the big four in the destruction of our temple? Big ag, big pharma. Okay, big four things: pharmaceutical agents, gluten, which is the protein found in wheat and barley and rye and some oats that we don't digest. The processed food industry on the bottom left-hand corner, the food-like substances containing toxic chemicals and preservatives and glyphosate and Bt toxin in our corn and all these food-like things that just break us down. You know, whatever is on the end of our fork, it's either going to lift us up and build us up, or it's going to tear us down and break us. And this is the, you know, the animal products. So these are the four big things that are going to break down our temples. They're gonna destroy the precious bacteria that lives in our bodies. Let's talk a little bit about gluten. Unless your relatives were from the fertile region of Mesopotamia, we have not been digesting gluten for up to 500 years. We're just not digesting it. And some people have a problem with it, some people don't. But we're not equipped to digest and process that gluten. And what happens is it damages our guts. GI damage causing leaky gut, developing into autoimmune disorders, and we don't absorb our vitamins when we're exposed to all of this gluten. Gluten is in the breads and the white foods, the white pastas and white rice and all those fluffy, yummy, wonderful baked goods that all has gluten in it because it's wheat. You know, anything that's baked with wheat flour is going to have gluten in it. Immune system deficits and inability to heal and repair. And then it changes our gut bacteria, increased risk of bacteria and yeasts and autoimmune dysregulation. So all of this stuff is going on when we're consuming gluten. A lot of times what happens is doctors aren't putting together the gluten story with your symptoms, and then they just prescribe these motions, potions, lotions, and pills, and they're not, you know, they're putting a Band-Aid on it. So we're not getting to the bottom of the destruction. The reason why we're destroying our intestines is still that we're still trying to grasp that as a community. I have a public health background, so everything I do, I'm reaching out to the masses. I want to change the big numbers. I'm looking at that bell curve. You know, I'm not talking about those people that take really good care of themselves or really bad care of themselves. And you know, the person who's a health zealot can have uterine cancer at, you know, 35, and that person who's, you know, 95-year-old smoking every day and drinking alcohol, he's happy as can be. I'm talking about the masses of people in that big population range. That's the sweet spot that I'm addressing. There's always going to be an exception to the rule. So gluten is tearing us down. We really do have two different brains in our bodies, okay? One is the cognitive brain, the one that we all know about, and the other one is the enteric brain. The enteric brain is made up of these millions and trillions of bacteria that line the mucosal membrane, the mucous membrane of your intestinal tract. And think of these two brains as being in cooperation with each other. They both beat together. The enteric, or the intestinal brain, is affecting what goes on in the mental brain, and the mental brain is affecting the intestinal brain. And there's all this stuff that goes on inside of the body, and especially inside of that enteric brain. There's a lot of activity that goes on in there that I want to help you understand a little bit better. The microbiome is just another way of saying the universe of bacteria that lives in our intestines. And there are 37 trillion human cells in our body, but there are 100, 3 times more, 100 trillion plus microbes that live in each person. There are about 1,200 different species of bacteria that are found in the intestine. And so what happens in there is that, think of this microbiota. That's the makeup of all of these microbes. We call it the microbiota, and where they live is the biome. So the microbiota is like this one unit, heart beating, breathing organism that works together in all of these trillions of cells and microbes working together to, they cause you to crave food. They work on your body in a way that, so let me just back up. Your microbiome creates about 75% of the neurotransmitters that dictate, those are the chemicals in your brain that dictate your preferences, your actions, your food cravings. So this world of bacteria acts like one unit for you. And it affects your brain, it affects your mental health, it affects your gut health, which will eventually leak into your immune health. So there are a couple of things that we can do to feed this bacteria. We can give our bodies supplements. We can feed these bacteria with supplements, and those are probiotics. Those are live bacterial organisms that we put into our bodies on purpose to help the lining of the intestines work better and function better. And we can also feed them. We can feed these little guys with fermented foods and fruits and vegetables. So that's one way that we can control the outcome of whether we have a whole plethora of the bad bacteria or the good bacteria. We want to feed the good bacteria. But we are in a society where we have health habits that are causing us to feed the bad bacteria. Okay, so we need to move away from that. Let me give you a little pathophysiology behind leaky gut. On the top of this screen, you can see the lumen of the small intestine. And you just take a little microscopic chunk of that, and that's what you see on the bottom. You see these cells that are lining the mucosa of your intestines that are butt up against the vascular system of your body. You've got vessels that are lined up against these cells. Now these cells have little hairs on the top. You see those little things? They're supposed to move like sea vegetables. You see them waving. These little villi move everything forward, and everything is supposed to travel through. It keeps all of those food particles and toxins and bacteria moving through the intestines. What happens when we feed the bad bacteria in our intestines? We're overflowing with the bad guys and not enough of the good guys. What ends up happening are those little villi start to paralyze. They no longer work properly, and those junctions that you see, they look like 3 leather straps. Those junctions are supposed to be tightly sealing those cells together. Well, those junctions become loose. Okay, when you're feeding that bad bacteria, you start to damage the lining of the mucosa in your intestines, and those junctions start to part away. And what happens is the food particles like proteins, gluten molecules, toxins, and bacteria will start to leak through those cells, and they'll start to permeate into our abdominal space and into our blood cells, into our blood vessels. And that is not a good thing, because what lives in your abdominal space but your immune army? So we all have this war going on inside of us at all times, because the immune system is trying to fight off those quote unquote foreign invaders. So this leakiness in our intestines and our blood vessels are causing havoc in our immune systems, causing our brain and our mental health and our emotional health and our cells to break down. So you can either create that war inside of you with what we call dysbiosis. That's really the war that's going on inside of your microbiome. Or you can create symbiosis, or peace and harmony within your gut. And I really recommend that you I strongly suggest that you move your health habits into that peace and harmony and that symbiosis in your intestines. You're, up to 80% of people fail when they try to change their lifestyle habits because of this dysbiosis, because of all this inflammation that goes on inside of the intestinal tract. So think of your internal gut as a beating, living organism that is competing with other systems in your body, and they're actually growing bad bacteria with all that inflammation, causing you to crave bad foods, causing you to feel bad, contributing greatly to mental health and emotional health issues, anxiety, depression. All of those things are coming out of that dysbiosis or that disharmony or that war that's going on inside of your immune system. 60 to 80% of your immune function comes from the functioning of that microbiome. Okay, so that's pretty serious stuff. So let's move on here, and I'm going to give you a little hint about how you can determine how you're doing with your microbiome. If your urine spillover pH is acidic, below 7.0, you're acid. That means your microbiome is probably taking over your intestines. Okay, in order for your healthy bacteria to proliferate, you want a high preponderance of the healthy cells. You need to have a pH alkaline of 7.0 and above. Your bacteria and virus can't grow in an acid environment. Cancer doesn't replicate in an alkaline environment. So when you're acid, you're moving your body into a state of disease. So let me give you a little hint here. You can urinate, you can pee on these. You got a strip kit on the left and tape on the right. It's the same thing, gives you a color chart. Just pee on those 3 or 4 times a day and look and see what your urine pH is spilling. And if you're low, below 7.0, you've got to pay attention to get that back up into the alkaline zone. How do you do that? You pour fruits and vegetables into your body. You pull off of acid foods like alcohol and coffee, and all animal foods are acid. Fruits and vegetables will keep your alkaline either neutral or will keep your pH either neutral or alkaline above 7.0. If you are 7.0 or above, you're probably in really good shape and your microbiome is doing really well. Now, this is why I do what I do. This is a list of autoimmune disorders. We're out of control with these autoimmune disorders. This is not acceptable to me. This is why I'm working in this village to try to turn this healthcare system around. We don't know what's going on with our healthcare system. The Senate's trying to pass this this healthcare act, and we don't know what's going to happen. We have to take control of our own health because this is out of control. This list of autoimmune disorders and food allergies is out of control. And I have to do something about it. We're a village, and we're going to work together as a village to make this better. I'm committed to that. So how do you heal and seal the leaky gut? We talked about the destruction of the temple. Now, how do we seal up those holes? That's really what has to happen if we want to move forward in our health. We've got to go back to the basics, you guys. We've lost connection to the basics, and we definitely have to. That means, if you guys can just mute yourselves out, that would be great. If we exercise moderately, consistently through time, that's part of the basics. If we think right, we think positively, we think a certain way where we're building our bodies up, staying in gratitude, staying on the positive side of the ledger instead of having, negative nillies all day long. These are part of the basics. We're going to talk about some of these basics. Thank you for mentioning the book, Anne-Marie, at the beginning. These are 2 little books that I wrote. I started back in 2012 with the one on the left, One Little Thing, the Pure One Little Thing System. It's the Pure One Little Thing System that turned into One Simple Change, sets you up for success, and keeps you on track for the change process. These are systems for changing. And then back in September of last year, I published the One Little Thing, Tortoise and the Hare on the right. Whether you go slow or fast, they set you up for success and teach you how to change. And then my contact information will be posted at the end of this talk, so you can get copies,
Molly.
or you can get copies
Molly?
if you want. The basics are also about sleeping. We've got to get really good sleep for long periods of time so that our human growth hormone can come out and play in the middle of the night and heal us. But we can't have any food in our stomachs while we're going into the sleep, while we're sleeping. We want an empty stomach, and we want to get a jump on the night and be really well rested. If you're going to heal, you definitely need that. Drinking water. I don't want anybody counting ounces of water a day. Just keep your urine clear. And that will hydrate your cells, and that will feed your liver what it needs to get the toxicity out of our bodies. Fermented foods are one of those things that we can feed the good bacteria. Look at the funny looking names, kimchi and kombucha and tempeh, and all of these fermented foods will go in there and heal the gut by feeding the good bacteria. All these foods are started and cultured with bacteria. These are like, this is like superfood. This is like kale and blueberries to your microbiota. They love this fermented food, and it heals you when you eat them. Homemade bone broth, that's a big one. If you're a vegan, you're not going to eat bone broth, but they're really good for you. Eating mostly plants is really the bottom line here. If you pour the plants into your body, your liver, this has to be raw, whole food, organic, clean food. You pour these into your body, and your liver is going to take what it needs. It's going to convert the toxicity out of your fat cells. It's going to convert your toxins that live in your fat. Your fat enrobes the toxins because it's trying to protect your organs from being exposed to those toxins. So when you feed your liver massive amounts of produce, I'm talking 20 to 30 servings, and give it enough water to keep your urine clear, your body, your liver is going to be able to convert those toxins into water soluble instead of fat soluble. And you're going to be able to pee them out. Okay. When you start peeing those toxins out, then your fat's no longer needed, and your fat's going to start to melt off. So good health, good bacteria, they eat plants. That's what we want to do. And the plants are going to help to keep your alkaline in your urine. It's going to help to keep your blood alkaline above 7.0. 16 and a half years ago, I discovered the Juice Plus product line when Nancy, the nurse, came to me and wanted me to take a look at it. And I said, Nancy, I've got to see that this stuff is whole food. I don't do vitamins. I need to see that it is well researched. I need to see really good science behind this. She says, it does, Stacey. It's got all of these things. I said, so lay it on me. So the Juice Plus product line was something that came across my desk 2 weeks after 9/11. And I had grown up on Flintstone's vitamins. I was a vitamin gal, but I had already read a study in the late 80s called the CARET study, Carotenoid and Retinol Efficacy Trial, CARET, done at the Cancer Research Center in Seattle, Washington. There's a cancer research center that did this study. And what it showed was that vitamins, fragmented, isolated vitamins, cause more harm in high-risk individuals than do them good. And so I had already stopped taking vitamins. I didn't even take vitamins when I was pregnant with my 3 kids. Okay, so I had already switched my paradigm. So I was actually looking for something, but I always need to see science, and I couldn't find science anywhere. So Nancy gave me the science, and I read it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this stuff is amazing. Let me look into this a little bit more. It's 40 different fruits and vegetables and grains, grapes and berries, vine ripened in good organic soil, tested for herbicides and pesticides that might have blown over from other crops, tested for molds and yeast and fungus. It's NSF, National Sanitation Foundation certified. It's kosher. Good manufacturing practices are well above standards. And this is three different product line, 3 different flavors of fruits and vegetables and grains. You have your grapes and berries in the purple, you have your garden or vegetables in the green, and you have your fruits in your orchard in the red. And then you have complete smoothie powder mix, and I'm going to talk a little bit about in a minute. So I'm going to tell you my story later down the line, but this is the whole food nutrition system that came across my desk, and I thought, wow, you know what, this is gonna heal me. This is gonna heal my family. It's because of the science that I latched on to this product. And I want you to look at the boldly highlighted studies. These are the things that pertain to leaky gut, that pertain to the regeneration of your cells. Okay, Juice Plus delivers antioxidants and nutrients into the body. It reduces oxidation. That is the rusting that goes on inside of us. So Juice Plus reduces that rusting inside of us, slows down the aging system. It also reduces those biomarkers of systemic inflammation. So our inflammation is going down. What is inflammatory bowel disease? What is the microbiome? What is cancer and heart disease and itises and pain and swelling? It's all inflammation. We are so inflamed in this country. And if you are spilling over acid into your urine, you're probably inflamed. Supports a healthy immune system, balances and strengthens that whole immune army, that war that's going on inside of your body. Your leadership goes up and your allergy cells come down. Your cancer search and destroy cells go up. So all of this stuff is happening in the immune system. And then it helps protect our DNA. And when our DNA gets hit by free radicals, then you clone bad cells, you clone cancer. And when your DNA gets hit, your cell lasts shorter on the shelf. Your cells only replicate a certain amount of times before they die out. So they're lasting longer before they die out. And then also Juice Plus helps to reduce insulin resistance. The sugar goes into the cell with Juice Plus. It improves pulmonary function in smokers and non-smokers. It also helps cardiovascular wellness, which is really important when you're talking about healing your tissue. You want really good vessels. You want really good responsive vessels and blood cells. And it supports healthy skin and gums coming out of Germany and coming out of France. We know that, well, your esthetician, your hairstylist, your dentist, your nail gal, they all know what's going on inside of you by the way that you're projecting your health outward. And so what goes on inside is a function of what you see on the outside. So this is the third-party, independent research that is done on Juice Plus all over the world, 4 different continents. It's gold standard. This is what doctors are looking for. They're looking for crossover, double-blind, placebo-controlled studies. And these are all published in peer-reviewed journals. It takes 2 years to get a study into a journal because the people who are scrutinizing the journals kick it back out, and they have to make changes, and then it can take 2 to 3 years to get into a journal. So this is the kind of science that allows me to hang my hat as a professional, a healthcare professional. This research is what makes me really excited. Coming soon. Published research showing the influence of Juice Plus on leaky gut. We don't know where it's being done right now because they'll be bombarded by people calling them and asking them about the study. So we don't know where it's being done, but it will be published in the next 2 to 3 years. So I'm really excited about that. That's super wonderful. The Juice Plus Complete is a macronutrition product. It has 2 things. It has the complete smoothie powder mix coming in chocolate and vanilla. And it's the kind of nutrition system where the whole food works together. So it has really good fiber, like 8 grams of fiber in it, 13 grams of plant vegan proteins, and it has really great complex carbs, good fats in there, and a bar that matches the profile. And what this does is it balances your immune system. It balances your immune system, and it balances your blood sugar. That's what you want. You want really steady blood sugar. So the way that the macronutrients come together, it doesn't climb your blood sugar and then crash you. It's a slow release of those carbohydrates in the product line. So this is something that you can grab a hold onto and use it as a really healthy beverage. It's a whole food, vegan, healthy beverage. And it works to decrease inflammation with the garden and the orchard. Also, if you know anybody or you who is severely constipated, if the Juice Plus capsules don't blow that through, add the Complete. and you will have a moving experience, I promise you, combined with the amount of water to keep your urine clear. No worries there. We have a new omega blend. I am so excited about this. You know how the fish eat the algae and then man extracts the omega-3 essential fatty acid out of the fish into an omega-3? I've never been a big fan of eating fish oils. Well, the Juice Plus company went right to the plant and bypassed the fish. They go to algae and 5 different seeds, and they extract the oil out of all of those foods, and they put it into an omega blend of 3, 5, 6, 7, and 9. There is nothing on this like this in the marketplace right now. This is so cutting edge. It comes in a tapioca outer shell, and so you can actually eat, you can chew on that, and it tastes like orange vanilla. It's really, really great. Or you can just swallow them in like you swallow the Juice Plus capsules. Now, my story with this is that I was part of the test pilot group for this omega blend, and I wasn't really paying too much attention to what was happening with me, but I've had for like a couple of years, I've had this hand pain, like inflammation hand pain, with when I would get inflamed, when I would eat, the inflammation foods, I would notice my hands would hurt, and I was always rubbing them and rubbing the joints in my hands. 2 months into this omega blend, as I was filling out the questionnaire, thinking about, how am I feeling? I realized I don't have any hand pain. My hand pain completely disappeared after 2 months on this, probably about four weeks on this blend. So I know that it's doing really good things. And omegas are good for brain health, brain chemistry, moods, vessel and heart health, and all kinds of wonderful things, joint health, and all kinds of great things are moved forward with omega blends. So we're really excited about this. My story is, if you look at these 3 kids, these are my 3 kiddos. And you see what they're eating. This was right before we were introduced to Juice Plus. So we were at a Mother's Day picnic, and my their grandparents were there feeding them all of this stuff. They were eating the cupcakes and the soda, and they had leaky gut. They had full-on leaky gut by this age. Right here, they're 3, 5, and 6. This is right when I introduced Juice Plus into their bodies. They had ear infections, and my oldest had asthma and an inhaler, and my middle guy had eczema. He was a little bit back injured, so he had immune issues and cognitive issues, and he had all this leaky, eczema on him, and constant ear infections. My baby had ear infections all the time, and they had colds and flus all the time. I was constantly running them to the pediatrician's office. Well, when Juice Plus came across our family, I started infusing it into them, and in 4 months, what happened was I lost 10 pounds of baby weight. My husband had candida. That went back into normal range. Yeast in the blood. That went back into normal range with only Juice Plus going into him. And my kids completely transformed. No more colds and flus. Their eczema cleared up. Asthma inhaler went in the trash. Colds and flus went away. No more antibiotics for those ear infections, and they completely transformed. We started eating better. We threw away the cupcakes. We started eating with more consciousness, and they started feeding their good bacteria. And they turned out really great. No more chronic infections. My son on the right ended up, healing up from said he was slightly vax damaged after his 1-year MMR. He didn't talk till he was 3, and he was always getting chronically infected. He had Epstein-Barr at 10. He was on Juice Plus for 5 years before he had the Epstein-Barr virus. And mono is a virus responsible by the Epstein-Barr virus, okay? And so mononucleosis is usually a 2 to 3 month ordeal where you can get spleen damage, you have a high fever, you can't function. And so from the front end of this mono, where he started having symptoms, and he did have spleen pain. So from the front end of his symptoms to the day he went back to school fully recovered was 10 days. Okay, that is the immune system of a superhero. That's what I'm talking about here. This is the kind of power that this product has in the body. So that's my story, and it's a beautiful transformational story. I am passionate about sharing this with everybody that I know and love. And if you get to know me, then you'll just know that you're going to learn about it. Okay, I'm going to teach you about it. You need to know about it. And I can't help it. I have an ethical responsibility to share. We are in a healthy living revolution. Are we ready to take healthy back? We are the village that is transforming the health of the world and our doctors. We are in a healthy living revolution. Has anybody heard of the Shred 10? I want to thank Mitra Ray and Jake Kelly for Shred 10. I've done this maybe 6 or 7 times. I'm in one now. I'm on day 2 of the Shred, so I'm a little like that today, but I think I probably pulled it together for this call. The Shred 10 is not about shredding 10 pounds in 10 days. This is not a weight loss program. This is a way to transform. If you like to move fast through transformation, this is a way to reset your health habits so that you are building your body up, and these health habits that are no longer serving you, get them out of your life for 10 days. And you're going to build up your good bacteria. You're going to feed your microbiome with all of this good stuff. And it's a 10-day process to reboot yourself. And what does it look like? You're going to eat 2 of each of those capsule blends a day and drink 2 of those shakes. That's a game changer. 2 shakes a day changes the game for good health. Drink as much water as you can to keep your urine clear. Sleep 7 to 8 hours a day. I don't recommend working out if you're shredding for the first time for the first maybe 3 or 4 days, so you can get your body calibrated to all of that newness. And then you're going to eliminate gluten, dairy, caffeine, alcohol, processed foods, refined sugars. And you're not going to eat past, they say 6 o'clock, but that's a little ridiculous. I say 7 or 3 hours before you go to bed. Stop eating. And when you do this, you're going to reboot yourself. By day 5, by Thursday, the sun is going to come out for me, and I'm going to be feeling like superhero. I am going to be like climbing the walls with energy. And I love to shred. I think that we need to teach this kind of detoxification to 3rd graders in health class. We live on an 80-20 planet. That means we should be shredding 20% of the time. So I shred 10 days every couple of months. So every odd month, I bring people through it with me. I do it myself. And I turn my health around and help other people do that. And you can do the same. This is where I hang out in the internet. I want to thank you for inviting me onto this call. If you want to reach me, if you want to order books, if you want to reach out and pick my brain about anything, this is my contact information. And you can friend me or not on Facebook, but that's where I am. If you want to see, where I am in the world and see who I'm dating, if that's exciting to you, you can see that. So the question of where are we headed with regards to our healthcare, that's a big burning question. We don't know. But what I do know is that we need to start taking responsibility for our health on a very deep level, because nobody's taking care of us. Okay, doctors, insurance companies, the food industry, the government, nobody's watching out for us. Okay, we've got to take control of our health. Every single minute, we have decisions to make. We have choices to make that can either build us up or tear us down. So what decisions and choices are you going to make on a second-by-second basis throughout your day that's going to feed your good universe inside of you, that's going to heal your leaky gut, that's going to allow you to transform? And once you figure out the path that you want to take, you can certainly plug into the One Little Thing system and get a system set up for you to finish that process, and then lock arms with the people who love you, who are bringing you through this process, who care about you, who blow wind in your sail. And get rid of the people that are stomping on your dreams, the people that don't want to see you succeed. They don't, they're threatened by you. They don't want to see you lose the weight. They don't want to see you get healthy and cure that disease. Get rid of those people. They're not serving you. Send them to therapy, whatever you need to do. But surround yourself with the people that are going to help you make the right choice. And that's all I have for you tonight. I thank you again for allowing me to speak to you, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your evening.
Wow, Stacy, I have tons of notes here, and I knew it would be an honor to have you here, but just the presence on the Zoom call, over 40 people we have that were channeled in, but I can't believe, every time I listen to a talk, I feel like I learned so much, but tonight I was blown out of the water. I can thank you so much for everyone that got onto this call. And if you know anyone that wish that they were on this call, we do have it recorded, and just reach out to Talia or I, and we will get that to you. But, you know, a good friend, a colleague of mine that, you know, we've taken these Tuesday nights to inspire so many people on their health, and we reach out to people like Stacy to give us their time, and we never know, you know, to what extent, you know, we're going to have it. Just, it is always incredible, but tonight was powerful. So thank you so much. And if anyone has any quick question that's burning a hole, I think we do have time for that. Is there anyone out there? I know there's
Lacey, I just wanted to say thank you too. We really, really appreciate having you here, and love to have you in New Hampshire sometime.
Request through.
I absolutely will. That was a fantastic call. Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome. And Marie, is the recording on or off at this point?
It's on, but we can turn it off if you
Why don't you go ahead and turn that off? That would be great. Yeah. Thank you.